Manila Podcast Syndicate production. Samut-Sari Conversation with Mimi, to connect with other women who may need someone to talk to around everyday's life issues and challenges, from managing career and household to inner productivity, relationships, and other hot topics. Samut-Sari Conversation with Mimi.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Samut-Sari Conversations with Mimi, a podcast featuring topics and other topics of interest for men and women alike. This is your host, Mimi Laurelia, who have the passion to share other people's commitment to their profession, to their talents, to share with us a slice of their lives. And here at Samut-Sari, we share stories to inspire you, stories from ordinary people who make extraordinary things. And today, my special guest is Joey Quintana. He is a person who thinks he is extraordinary, but to me, he is doing extraordinary things. So say hi, Joey, to my audience,
Hello.
listeners, and viewers.
Hello, everybody. I'm here from the land of Bukopay of the Philippines.
Yes, which is in Los Baños. So, Joey,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you are a landscape architect or a landscape
No, wrong.
horticulturist.
Horticulture, that's different. I'm a landscape horticulturist by profession.
Yes. And then Joey is really a native of Laguna. I
Very
would
native.
You native because you live within the environs and the surrounds of the university, and also in the midst of nature. That's why I love Los Baños, because you have the wind, the sea, the sun, the sky, the mountains. Everything is there.
Yes, everything in
Nature
nature.
in your doorstep. And then you are also a product of two brilliant professors in UP Los Baños. So I'm also
Yes.
very conscious about your academic lineage,
Oh,
your history of your family. And then you're also well connected because you are a member of different community groups. So you're a member of some church groups. You're
Yes.
also a member of, obviously, where
Our
we
choir.
started it all, different choirs and musical groups.
in high school, in
So,
college.
Yes. So, Joey, can you tell us a little bit about what you are currently doing at the moment, professionally and personally, within the context of 2020?
Oh, if right now of this year, in my life in the time of COVID-19, since I'm a freelance landscape horticulturist, I cannot get any projects right now.
Yeah.
Because they say that you cannot go out. So there, agriculturists cannot work online.
That's
we
true.
cannot tell the plants to plant themselves.
That's right.
So right now, I have no projects right now. So most of the time, I'm here in our house, taking care of the management of our house and taking care of my father. So hoping soon I can accept some landscaping projects. So I can
Go
have
back
some.
to your normal. Go back to
Yes,
your...
the normal me. But since it's we're still in the pandemic, I cannot do that.
Yeah. So, Joey, just because you said a while ago that landscape horticulturist is different from a landscape architect. What is the
Yeah.
difference between the two? In layman's words, I don't want this
Okay.
too technical.
The simple differentiation is, if you're a landscape architect, you have to take the board exam.
I see.
And you are considered an architect. So you have the level of a simple architect, and more for me, a landscape architect knows more on the fixtures.
How
say
the plants, deal with how, for example, the architecture of a building is in itself what an architect is, focused on. But a landscape architect considers how the plants agree with the building structure. Is that what it is?
Actually, the fixtures are like maybe there are two parts of landscaping: the softscape and the hardscape. So the hardscapes are the fixtures like the fountain, the pathways, the gazebos, the pergola. So they deal. I think they deal more on the design.
Yeah.
But for the landscape horticulturist, we deal more on the plants.
The plants
So
itself.
what are the appropriate plants to plant on a certain area. We should know that the requirements. So sometimes we tend to tell or compete with landscape architects because they really don't know. I don't know if some people will disagree. Their designs are beautiful, but sometimes they plant the wrong plants.
Exactly. So
Sorry.
in short, the architects need you, the horticulturist, to make the right
Exactly.
decision in terms of what suitable plants are right for a specific area or a specific type of environment. For example,
Exactly.
whether it's the backyard, front yard, the public spaces, and things like that. So
That's why we're a perfect combination.
Yes.
Supposed to be.
So you can also be a landscape architect eventually, Joey, if you want to study again.
I have many friends who started as landscape horticulturists. They took subjects in UP Diliman, so they can eventually be landscape architects.
Okay. And the reason why I also want to promote that is because a lot of people are at home at the moment. They probably don't know what to do with a lot of their time. So online, I keep hearing about people buying plants, planting
Exactly.
at home, planting vegetables,
Exactly.
those from seedlings.
Self-sustaining, yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Vegetables.
you will be what do you call that, marketable in that sense, while you cannot do the projects per se, but you can do some consulting work, or maybe you can design
Exactly.
some things for them, for people out there, right?
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.
Exactly. Currently, there are many webinars and online meetings or workshops on what are the easiest vegetable to plant in a very small space, like for urban landscaping, like in urban areas, maybe in condominiums, do they have small spaces? What are the vegetables that they can plant with such small spaces?
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you need an expert advice, here is Joey, who can I will link you up with Joey if you need help, and then Joey can provide you with his professional services.
Okay,
So, the other thing that you mentioned a while ago is that because you cannot do any projects at the moment, you are principally the manager of your household, and you look after your dad as some sort of, you're kind of like his caregiver. And your dad is in his 80s now? Is it?
He just turned 87 last July 4.
Okay, so Professor Quintana, Dr. Quintana is now in his late 80s. And aside from his old age, you are also looking after his mental health at the moment. He's got something like a memory loss, or the beginnings of memory loss. And I want you to talk about your experience when you first learned that your dad has this condition. Did that immediately worry you? Or did you think that it's just a sign of his old age? And that's a normal thing for parents to go through.
When we learned that, during the time when we noticed that he had some memory lapses, I was still working in Metro Manila. So that's far from Los Baños. So, and that time, my mom was still alive. So basically, she was the one managing the house and managing Papa, taking care of Papa. But that time, it was a simple memory lapses. He can do the simple things, but we observed that he forgets some little things. So Eventually we were able to convince him to go to a neurologist. So the doctor can say if there's something wrong, if it is simple forgetfulness for old people, or it's something serious. So finally, after I don't know years or months, he finally we finally convinced him to go to the doctor and to have proper checkup to know what's wrong. And we went to the doctor in Metro Manila. Then unfortunately he was diagnosed with mild Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's mid 2015.
Yeah.
I think 2015. So it started there that time though. So the neurologist gave the proper treatment, the meds.
Yeah. So does your dad's condition, because I'm not sure whether this is true, because Alzheimer's is different from one person to another person. I think there are different types of Alzheimer's. Not because you have Alzheimer's, you have exactly the same manifestation as the others. People. Yeah. So in your dad's case, is it like a slow-moving Alzheimer's, or did you find that once you knew what it was, things started to kind of, expanded, everything became more obvious, everything became more enhanced, his memory loss, his forgetfulness, and the other things. So for those who have older parents but are not sure whether this is simply memory loss or something else, what are some of the typical signs or typical indicators that this is not a simple forgetfulness? Based on your dad's experience.
Yeah. I don't know with the part if it's if the development is fast or slow, because I have no point of comparison. But for me, from the time that he was diagnosed, I think the progress of the disease is not that fast. Because until now he still remembers me.
Yeah.
Because I know the ultimate result, the end stage of Alzheimer's, but I think he's not at that part yet. For me, or maybe I don't know if I'm still I cannot accept, but I feel that he is still in the mild stage.
Yeah.
The mild stage. But the typical observations we had is the memory loss. Maybe sometimes he repeats things. If you tell this instruction, he will ask again. I think when we studied, when we attended seminars, that's a typical characteristics of a person with Alzheimer's. He or she repeats many things.
Right. And what about Joey, mood swings? Does your dad have, for example, one moment he's happy and then the next moment he's angry, or he gets annoyed? Is that also a manifestation of Alzheimer's?
Sometimes he just laughs, even if there's nothing funny. For me, if it's not funny, but for me that's fine with me, because he's laughing. It means he's happy.
Happy. Yes, exactly. So Joey, I really want to unpack this a little bit, because I feel that you are one strong person with a lot of character and with a lot of love for your dad. So how did you transition from working Manila, even during the time that your mom was still alive, and then eventually when your mom passed away, you find yourself being more full-time, that you felt that you needed to look after your dad? Did you have to make the tough decision to move back to Los Baños so you can be with him, or it was just a natural course of events where you just switch jobs, or did you have to quit your job full-time and do it part-time? I want to know the dynamics of your decision making, because you knew that ultimately you would have to look after him. How did you juggle that situation?
It was I don't know if that's because of my love for my dad. I don't know if it's the right word if it's a tough decision, because for me it was the right decision. It was the right decision because when my mom died in 2017, I was still working in Metro Manila. So I was taking care of my dad virtually because we have a caregiver here, a 24/7 caregiver for him. But I still see him because of the online CCTV cameras. So I
Okay.
see him wherever he is. So when he goes to this area of the house, when he goes to this area, I can see him. So I can monitor him 24/7. So um, that time, I always, when I see something wrong, I just call the caregiver. So I'm taking care of him virtually. So it is hard while working. I'll check my cell phone and I see
Yeah.
him, and so it's like doing two things at a time. I'm
Yeah.
working and I'm checking at him.
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying because at the back of your mind, you can't feel at peace unless you know that he's okay, right?
Exactly.
So until now, you have the caregiver. Right? Even if you're
Yes,
there,
yes.
you still your dad still need the caregiver, and you probably have to share some of the caring
That's
duties
yeah, exactly,
to
exactly.
make sure that both of you will have ample rest and
Yes,
respite from the task.
yes, yes, yes.
So Joey, for those who do not understand, you mentioned that it was the right decision because you love your dad. Do you feel that other people who are in the same situation as you can easily make that right decision, or maybe some of us will not want to be full time hands on looking after the parents because of other priorities? For example, you're single, you don't have
Yep, yep.
any other
People to
kids
take
or
care. Yeah,
husband
yes,
or somebody else
exactly.
to look after. So what's your perspective or insight around that?
It's right. It depends on the person. So, for me, I decided to go back here in Los Baños because uh, I felt that the caregiver is not enough to take care of Papa, because there are things that the caregiver cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the loving touch of a child
Yeah, the cariño
of
of the anak.
the career of the youngest. I'm the bunso or the youngest. So because the way the caregiver takes care of my dad is different from the way how I take care of my dad. Simply
Mm,
because maybe of the words. I think
yeah.
it's different when he hears that I use "Hello, Papa"
Okay.
compared to "Hello, sir."
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
There's a
Yeah,
difference
exactly.
between
So
that. And it's very beneficial for your dad to really hear your own voice. I think the voice is really important in all of
exactly.
this.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So Joey, I have to apologize. I said husband because I'm a woman. I'm my default mode is my husband. So you don't have a
Yeah, I
wife, you
have
don't
no
have a
choice.
family. So I have to correct
Exactly.
myself on
No
them.
problem. No
Okay.
problem.
So Joey, looking after your dad, can you give us a flavor or an insight on the kind of care and management regime or routines that you have to ensure that your dad is, always at his best, is relaxed, is comfortable, not just because he's taking medication, but what other things does he need in this stage of his life so he is really happy and healthy?
Well, basically, you said the right word. Our task is to make him happy. So,
Mm,
so the things we do for him is we want him to feel that he can do regular things, like if he doesn't have Alzheimer's, like he can brush his teeth on
mm,
his own. He
yeah,
can eat on his own. He can take a bath on his own. Um, do the normal things for a
yeah,
retired professor. So
yeah,
we just assist him as much as possible.
yeah,
Like he can, when he do his PT sessions or do his exercise, when he eats, we don't spoon feed him. He eats by himself. Um, we want that we want him to feel that he can do it on his own.
So you
Compared,
give him a sense of independence as much
yes,
as possible to make his routine as regular as possible. So I guess my question really, and this is the heart of our topic for today, is the tips or advice that we can give to others who are looking after elderly parents or their loved ones. So you hit the nail on the head when you said you try your best to not really simulate the situation, but normalize it as though he's really still capable of being independent. So that's number one. What other things do you think other people that might be in a future position as you need to do to ensure that the parents are happy and the parents are safe and healthy?
Well, I think that part that's saying just to make him happy or make them happy is it covers all aspects of the taking care part of a patient. It means that we don't want them to worry. We don't want them to worry. Sometimes they think because a typical Alzheimer's patient, they have hallucinations. They think there are robbers or thieves in our house, or somebody taking their stuff, but actually they're just making it up. So you have to be conscious to tell to make them not worry.
So even if it means telling a little lie just to satisfy them.
Yes, white lie. Yes. You have to make those lies just to make them fine, or they won't worry.
So they are reassured that
they're safe. They're safe.
Their worries are not supposed to be focused on, and that everybody in the house will look after them and will take care of them. So you need to have patience. You need to be able to pick up on those cues. So even if you make a white lie, it reassures them. Right?
Yes, exactly.
What about building memories, Joey? Because this is memory loss, and eventually he might not be at the stage where he remembers you. Are you preparing for that by documenting events or documenting his experiences or trying to relive his past? How do you do that? How do you treasure your moments with your dad?
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now.
Yeah, this time, since my dad is, I think, the remaining Quintana of a brood of 7. There are only 2 left.
Okay.
The one is in Mindanao. So now I always ask him of the family history. Because knock on wood, eventually they will be all gone, and the things that they know about the family, like the information that they know about the family, they are the only sources of this info about the family. So as much as possible, I ask him of the things he only knows.
Right. Okay.
Like the info. So I fortunately for people with dementia or Alzheimer's, they remember the memories of long time ago, but not of the recent memories.
Okay, so you still have a chance to capture those important information.
Yes. Exactly. So I regularly part of the things we do for Papa, there will be a physical exercise, and the second is the mental exercise. So part of the day he do his exercise, and that maybe in the afternoon we ask questions.
Okay, you have a Q&A. It's like Jeopardy.
Yes.
Do you do puzzles and Sudoku or crossword? Do you think like that?
Unfortunately not. But during the first few months when he was diagnosed, his neurologist suggested or recommended to download a game in our iPod. So I think it's a game for dementia for patients. But unfortunately, Papa cannot do that anymore because of his vision problem.
Okay.
So that makes, unfortunately, it limits his activities because because of the issues of his perception and vision.
Okay. What about sometimes I see you taking photos of your little trips around the neighborhood. So
Yeah.
do those also help in restoring his memory and his sense of being stable where he is or being familiar with his environment?
But well, that's the documenting part is for my sake. It's not for Papa because he cannot see the photos anymore.
Mm.
So the going around part is for him. So sometimes you go to his former office place, workplace. So I tell him, Papa, we're in your office. We're in the lobby of your building. So sometimes some of his former colleagues approach him, Sir, I'm your former student. I'm a former RA, or so that so that's one of the things I do for him the pre-COVID time. I go to familiar places. So I just tell him, Papa, we're in the UPLB campus. So hoping that he remembers. And I think when he remembers, I think there's a feeling of happiness when he's in familiar places.
Yeah, that's right. So Joey, this is a very difficult question. And tell me if you don't want to answer this. But are you prepared for what is to come? Or have you started to prepare for what is to come? Because this is different from your mom's passing. Your dad is like, you still have enough time to be with him. But what about the end, like you said? Are things already in place for him? Because you will be the decision maker now. Your brothers and your sister are not there physically to help you out with these things. How are you preparing for that time?
That's a difficult question. If it's in the aspect of the things I have to do, like if worst comes to worst, I think there are things that are still not ironed out, or I have to do
Clear.
The documents and everything. But if the aspect of the emotions, I think I'm not ready.
Of course, no child is ever ready, Joey.
Exactly,
You know that.
exactly.
We met early this year, and
Yes,
I'm still reeling from my own, death in the family, which is my mom.
Exactly.
So I understand totally what you're saying, and I think it's important for us to say that so other people will hear it, because you can't be always too organized. Because
exactly.
But
it helps. It helps to be organized.
It helps, but you can't always plan everything because you can only do so much. And have your dad told you any of his wishes at all?
No.
Okay. So that's another aspect of it. Sometimes parents they're the ones telling you what you need to do. But in your case, it's not possible, I think, at the moment. And I think it's safer that you do not overthink it, because you are at the stage where you really have to be with him as much as you can. But is that a conversation that you have with your siblings? Is this the type of thing that you are talking about? Or
sometimes it pops up when we have our chats in FB Messenger, or when they had their vacation here. But it's sometimes I try to avoid
talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. It is my sister who likes to talk about it.
Okay. I think because as a woman, like I said, we have the tendency to make sure we tick all the boxes. So how are your siblings coping with the fact that they can't be with your dad to share the care with you, or share the moments to be physically with your dad? Because obviously he belongs to the vulnerable group, and there are travel restrictions because of COVID-19. How are they contributing or helping you out?
Well, for right now during this pandemic, there's no choice but through virtual connections, like online video calls, regular. I think this before COVID, they seldom call. But when the pandemic happened, there are more video calls with Papa.
Oh, that's good. So he gets to talk to them, and there's more an interaction between them.
Yes, I always tell Papa, they're not here because sometimes Papa thinks that they're here physically.
Okay.
So I have to tell him, Papa, where I use the word phone call because I think he doesn't know about video call. So because it's a phone call. Ate Bots is not here. She's in Hawaii and my brother's in California. So he won't say where's your ate is here. No, Papa, ate is not here.
So, but he knew that they were not with you. However, when he says your ate's here, maybe he's just thinking they've come to visit him, like they've physically arrived and.
So I just remind him that they're not here. I tell him that Papa here because of the restrictions and ganyan. I constantly tell him of this pandemic that we cannot go out, people cannot travel.
Yeah,
That's it. That's that part.
So really, what your experience, Joey, is teaching me how we as children can also be and should be devoted to our parents, no matter what. So your experience inspires me to keep hoping for others, because obviously I cannot demonstrate my care and love for my parents anymore. But I think we Filipinos are genuinely attached to our parents, and we do really love them, and it's a part of our culture to look after our parents. So
Exactly.
any advice, last things that you wanted to share or say to other people who are really at the crossroads also of their lives and have realized that they have switched the roles now, that instead of the parents
Exactly.
looking after them, they will be or are now looking after their parents?
The one thing I've learned with this experiences with our current situation, it's among siblings, we try to give the best care that we could to our parents, especially when also to my mother when she was still alive, and now because of the condition of Papa, we try to talk, and always discuss the best care that we could give, even if we have some issues, but still we always want to give the best care that we could give Papa, because sad to say, he is in the stage that we should give the best care that we should have, because if it's in the stage, he will be soon reality bites. He will be
You
soon
never
gone.
know when. Yeah, you never know when.
Yes,
So
yes,
the
exactly.
focus is really the parents now. It's not if it's inconvenient for us or not, or
Exactly.
it's not about the money, whatever money we can give or not, but it's
Exactly.
all about us making sure that they are really looked after, and we really show our care in whatever possible bestest
Capacity
way that we can.
Exactly.
Joey,
Exactly.
really, I'm so happy that you've allowed me to open up your experience and to share it with our viewers, because there's a lot of life lessons in this kind of time that we've shared your experience today. But mind you, Joey, I'm going to invite you again for another topic, and that will be a surprise topic, surprise discussion in another episode. And I really want to thank you again for your time. And if you know, or our audience members have any questions, if you guys have any questions for Joey, for myself, or about this topic, and you think you want to reach out to Joey, Joey is so nice. He can possibly help you out and advise you. He's like the kuya ng bayan, the uncle ng bayan, the ninong ng bayan. Everybody goes to Joey for
And
help
ask
and
for
advice.
directions and ask for
Joey, I
anything.
think that's your that's not your advocacy anymore. That's your destiny to be of service to others. So Joey, I really thank you for your
Exactly.
time. I really want to
You're
thank you for your time
welcome.
today. And like I said to the audience, if you have any stories or topics you wish to feature in our show, please reach out to me at mimi@dinosocial.com. Samutsari Joey is a member of the Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate. So if people want to hear this episode, they can go to the Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate Facebook page. They can go to my YouTube channel. And the Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate are the ones uh, putting it out in the different podcast channels. And they have a Philippines and an Australia group. So you are being heard internationally, Joey.
Wow.
Yes. So this is good because your experience deserves to be shared so other people can learn from it and really can grow as individuals as well. So thank you for your time, Joey.
You're welcome, Mimi.
You will be back in another episode. So, and the way I usually end my show is for us to give a wave to our audience. So goodbye, everybody. This is Mimi and
Goodbye.
Joey saying until the next episode.
If you find value in this episode, make sure you like and subscribe to be notified of new releases. If you have any questions or suggestions, please reach out to Guerrilla Podcast or send us an email at mimi@dinosocial.com. Spread the word and don't forget to tune in next time.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or via RSS. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And if you want to know more, check out www.guerrillapodcast.com.au or guerrillapodcast.com.ph. A Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate production.